Hey everyone, it's Phil Chop back with another video, and today we're going to be updating the tier list. Another month has come for the Void Tower rotation, a couple new characters, and some pretty crazy reworks. So we're going to go see how that affects all the ratings, and overall what has impacted the game so far. So let's jump into it. So here we are, we're on my spreadsheet here, the XP Jelly calculator. I have all the spreadsheets on this sheet in the description down below. If you want to check out the tier list, it'll be right here, the tier list version 1.4. And I have the date where I actually updated it, so you can go ahead and check it out there. Now, there are a few things about the tier list that I have a lot of questions about all the time, so I just want to go over those before we jump into some specific changes that have gone over the entire list. First off, there's two categories on the right-hand side here. Let me just scroll over so you guys can check it out easier. The potion value and the 6-star value. These are brief, very, very brief descriptions of how I would rate their upgrade traits. And also the 6-star value is basically how I would rate what value you're getting from actually 6-starring them. So most often damage dealers are an automatic 10, because if you want to use the damage dealer, you absolutely need to 6-star them. Generally is how I perceive that. And if some characters like HP scaling characters like Nathalia or Blackhorn here generally have a higher 6-star value because you're getting higher max HP, which means more heals, and overall they're going to be solid characters. So that's pretty much describes the list. I will be coming out with Witch and Gemini soon. Obviously Gemini is a little silly because Gangelo is the only character that actually completes it, so I haven't been too pressed to do Gemini. And then Witch obviously got a rework recently, so I had to go ahead and test a bunch of stuff. Now, we're going to jump into the list here, and I want to mention a few things that has overall changed the list. First off, Stage 14 dungeons have released. This has changed a lot of characters to either be a little bit worse or a little bit better because they're able to run Stage 14 dungeons, or they're not able to run Stage 14 dungeons. Second thing is a new Void Tower rotation has come in, which means some characters are more viable for Void Tower. And the third thing is some buffs and nerfs have happened over the past couple of weeks. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the characters that I just want to go over real quick here. First off is some of the characters that got really affected by the Stage 14 dungeons. And the first thing is going to be Evra and Yolanda here, especially for Queen 14. Now, they were already solid characters. Evra specifically is one of the most recommended characters for the rookie summon. Yolanda actually got a buff recently, and so she's been climbing up on my list. But with this addition of the 13 and 14 stage dungeons, Queen 14, oftentimes you're going to need to run a damage dealer or two in order for you to get through the waves within the second round so that the ads don't actually use their AoE skill and one-shot your whole team. Yolanda and Evra both help with that by giving the bonus turn or extra damage out. And of course, Yolanda keeps your whole squad alive, and Evra goes ahead and just does big damage. Now, Yolanda also has a big bonus in the guard buff. It allows you actually to run Nathalia, and that's another one who I wanted to mention real quick here. Let's see where she is. There she is, Nathalia right here. I actually have her as a 9 for Queen, and the reason for this is you could actually run Nathalia if you have better gear than the average player. You're going to be able to run Nathalia and go ahead and have her not have a guard set, because Yolanda will go ahead and give the guard buff, the actual buff rather than the guard set, to Nathalia, and that way you have a buff before anyone goes. Not to mention, another person who actually got a huge bonus for Stage 14 dungeons is Hakron here, and that's mainly due to the fact that he works with Nathalia now. Now, for Queen 14, he did get a slight nerf in regards to his removable max HP buff. However, you actually don't oftentimes need that for Queen 14. If you're running Queen 14, the real thing you have to worry about is the waves, and you oftentimes have revival sets and things like that. So the buff, or rather nerf here, didn't really matter too much for Queen 14. Really what I wanted to talk about is Ash 14 for Hakron. He has become so much better because he can be ran with Nathalia. However, he did take a slight nerf overall for earlier game, but for end game, mid game, things like that, he's still just as good as he was before. Pretty much. There's obviously some stages in Void Tower which become a little bit harder, However, I've been able to run Hackran throughout the entirety of Void Tower. Not a single stage did I not run Hackran. He's still a monster, still an absolute staple in Void Tower. And generally the tank comp is as well. So a lot of winners in regards to stage 14 dungeons, and just overall very, very solid characters. One character I really wanted to mention that has gone up significantly for arena, at least two characters, is Zitlin and Erzag. Now Zitlin has been someone that I've oftentimes advocated for arena because of his precision bonus passive. Now I am much farther into arena now, and I am climbing for rank 1, or attempting to at the moment. I probably will be the season at the end of the season by the time this video comes out. But in the combination of Zitlin plus Erzag, who Erzag has gotten a massive buff to him. He is an absolute arena monster. I have literally used Erzag to carry me through all of arena. There's not a single comp in my arena shard that I have not been able to beat with Erzag. Not only that, but he's become a guild boss monster as well, although that's less kind of important because guild boss is less important than arena. But overall, Erzag is a massive winner. He still is quite bad in a lot of the dungeons and Void Tower and things like that. In Queen, he can be quite good with his debuffs, but he's still not quite good enough compared to a lot of other characters. But he's just a massive damage dealer that anytime you're hitting tanks, he's going to smack them really, really hard. Now, another character that got a rework that has been an absolute monster for both some dungeons and for Void Tower and for arena offense is Edicris here. Now, Edicris I think he's still a little overrated, but that doesn't mean that he's not good. I think a lot of people are calling him like an absolute game-breaking character. He's super good. I think he's very good, but I don't think he's quite that level. I think he can slot in Void Tower and help your burst comps, but I think that the tank comp is easier to build than the Edicris nuke comp. Because remember, if you're building an Edicris nuke comp, you need damage dealers, or at least damage stats on your characters, as well as a very high focus number, as well as having good speed to go before the waves. It's not as easy as a lot of people go about and say it is. That being said, he is absolutely critical if you are running a nuke comp, because you need to get rid of that damage reduction passive or buff that they put up. But he's still solid in Queen for his debuff removal, and for arena offense for his debuff removal as well, if you are using him in those slots. Now, that's pretty much all the big winners. I do really quickly want to mention Bu Lin, because she is a new addition to the tier list here. And I have tested her quite a bit at this point, and I just think she is really, really underwhelming, to be honest. She just doesn't give enough from her induction is really the key kicker here. Her multipliers are okay. She has a decent joint attack passive. She has okay multipliers. Really, what she relies on is that induction debuff, though, because you do need to run focus to make sure you're landing that. But honestly, the induction passive, I've run it in Queen. I've run it in Arena. I've run it in Void Tower. I've stacked her with 5-6k attack, not quite 6k, but 5.5k attack. I've ran her with all sorts of different things, and I just can't get enough damage out of the induction passive to go ahead and warrant to use her over another damage dealer in that slot. That being said, I do think she's quite good for Queen, and honestly, she could be even rated as a 9 here for Queen, because she has the cooldowns that she has lines up perfectly for a specific speed tune for Queen 14, which is perfect. But any other dungeon, Void Tower, things like that, I just don't think she's worth building out ever, which is a little unfortunate because she is new. She does have a Dispel on Basic, which, again, comes in handy for Queen, but you're not really using the Dispel on Basic for many other game modes, at least PvE-oriented, and I don't think she warrants enough damage to use her in Arena. So, unfortunately, I think she kind of needs a big buff, in my opinion. I also think that in order to use her, she needs to be 6-star, because you're not going to get a bonus in attack when you're not 6-star, and you're not going to do enough damage or have enough damage from your induction to even get those big numbers. Big, I say, but like the 900 to 1k damage from hitting the induction. So unfortunately, Bu Lin just kind of is a little bit underwhelming, and overall just not quite good enough. So that's pretty much the changes to the tier list. Tank comps still viable. Nuke comps are still solid in Void Tower. Tank comps are preferred. And Stage 14 dungeons have made a lot more characters useful, and a lot other characters less useful than before. So that'll be it. Let me know what you think. If you disagree with anything, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. or if you think that some characters are a little unfairly rated or should be buffed because that you found a use for them in stage 14 dungeons or something like that. Obviously, I've not tested everything so far, so definitely room for some suggestion. But that'll be it, and I'll see you for the next one.